Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. All eyes are on Dak Prescott as Cowboys face 49ers Sunday night. What did quarterback Dak Prescott do during the Dallas Cowboys bye week? But he did much more than that. He was at the Star a couple times and got some work in off-campus with receivers, including CeeDee Lamb, to try to improve after a SOSO start to the season. I can't be stagnant. It's hard for me to be, so I've got to work, Prescott said. If there's times that there's a couple hours within the day that I can fit it in, especially whether it's the bye or whatever, I'm going to make sure I can do that. Obviously just the self-scout, wanting to figure out what I need to do better personally, individually, to make this team better, this whole unit better. I wanted to get ahead of it. It was no surprise to the coaches that Prescott would be around. If anything with Dak, you probably worry about him overworking and overtraining, offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer said. As the Cowboys, 3-3, open what head coach Mike McCarthy calls the second trimester of the season Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time, NBC, all eyes will be on Prescott. They always are, but as the highest-paid player in NFL history, thanks to his 4-year, $240 million extension signed hours before the season opener, the scrutiny grows. That's hard to imagine for the quarterback of America's team who has had every move watched from when he was a mere fourth-round pick and Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2016 all the way through 5 playoff appearances without advancing to the NFC Championship game. But it's true. If the Cowboys are going to make it to the playoffs for a 4th straight season, something they have not done since the Super Bowl runs of the 1990s, it will be with Prescott leading the way. I'd say I've played average, and it isn't good enough right now by any means, Prescott said. It's never been good enough for me. I can't say that I've been happy or excited after any of these games that I've played. But understanding there's more plays out there for me to make, whether it's in the design or not. I'm capable of it. So far this season, Prescott has thrown for 1,602 yards, but in 3 of 6 games, he completed less than 60% of his passes. He had just one game like that last season. He has never had more than 4 games in a season with less than a 60% completion rate. Prescott has 6 interceptions, putting him on pace for a career-high 17. Twice he's had 6 in his first 6 starts, 2019, 2022. In 2019, he finished with 11 INTs in 16 games, but in 2022, his 15 INTs in 12 games, he missed 5 with a broken thumb, tied for the most in the NFL. Obviously, those statistics don't help for an overall performance, Coach Mike McCarthy said. Much has been made of the route running by the Cowboys wide receivers since Troy Aikman's public criticism. According to ESPN research, Cowboys pass catchers are averaging 2.9 yards of separation. Only the 49ers have been worse, 2.8 yards. Last season, when Prescott led the NFL in touchdown passes, 36, and had his best completion percentage, 69.5%, Cowboys pass catchers created 3.1 yards of separation, which was just 31st in the league. This season, the Cowboys have the highest tight window throw percentage at 23.4%. In 2023, it was 18.8%, which was 3rd in the NFL. There's more to those statistics, McCarthy said. Situational involvement is very high in those evaluations too. It's 6 games. That's another thing. Whatever the reason, nobody puts it on the weight of the contract. Cowboys finally trade for star RB in latest mock proposal. Jerry Jones might deny it all he wants, but it's obvious that the Dallas Cowboys need reinforcements if they want to be competitive this season. The November 5th trade deadline is right around the corner, and if the Cowboys don't make a significant addition, they will likely be nowhere near Super Bowl contention. Sitting at 3-3 for the season, the Cowboys have disappointed on both ends of the field. They currently have the 31st ranked defense and the 20th ranked offense in the league. One of the most glaring weaknesses is the running game. Dallas has one of the least inspiring RB rooms in the NFL. They are currently averaging a league-worst 3.5 yards per carry and rank dead last in rushing yards and touchdowns. Despite the delusional front office, fans and the media are clamoring for a trade to address this weakness. The Athletic's Mike Jones and Jeff Howe proposed a trade that could help solve this issue for the Cowboys. In their latest piece, they have Browns star Nick Chubb headed to Dallas in exchange for a third-round and a sixth-round pick in the upcoming 2025 NFL Draft. The Cleveland Browns are 1-6 for the season and they already traded away Amari Cooper. They will likely move on from any veterans with some trade value. Chubb is not only 28 but he is also in the final year of his contract, making him an obvious trade candidate. Chubb has the star power team owner Jerry Jones covets. Although it's a risk with Chubb just getting back from a huge knee injury, the reward could be massive if Chubb closes the season as a top 10 back. Mike Jones and Jeff Howe, the Athletic in his last healthy season, Chubb put up 1,525 yards and 12 touchdowns in 17 games, establishing himself as one of the best running backs in the league. He suffered a torn ACL, PCL, and MCL since then, but even in his diminished state, the four-time Pro Bowler is likely better than any of the Cowboys' options on the roster. The Cleveland Browns could send star playmaker to the Dallas Cowboys in a crazy deal, report. The Cleveland Browns are in full rebuild mode after their 2024 season went off the rails in Week 1 to the Dallas Cowboys, and now the two teams could possibly make a trade in the next few weeks. Mike Jones and Jeff Howe from The Athletic wrote an article titled 6 NFL Trades We'd Like to See, Max Crosby to Lions, Nick Chubb to Cowboys. The Cowboys are last in rushing yards, touchdowns, and yards per attempt. Why? Because they're 30th in attempts. They don't have the personnel, and Mike McCarthy hasn't shown a lot of commitment to the ground game. Being completely out of balance has led to 3 of their games getting out of hand early. Chubb has the star power team owner Jerry Jones covets. Although it's a risk with Chubb just getting back from a huge knee injury, the reward could be massive if Chubb closes the season as a top 10 back. For the Browns, it would be a gut punch to give up such an impactful piece of their franchise, especially considering the way he was received upon his season debut. And they probably don't want to take the public relations hit after the fan base turned on quarterback Deshaun Watson, but Watson's deal is about to dramatically squeeze the books. Chubb, who turns 29 in December, is going to be a free agent after the season, and it's going to be a stretch to keep a highly paid running back on the roster with the cap gymnastics on the horizon. Whether or not the Browns are prepared to admit it, they need to give serious consideration to drafting a QB, and the extra third-rounder could aid that endeavor. The star running back played his first game last weekend since tearing up his knee in Week 2 of the 2023 season, and even though he will be a free agent this offseason, the Browns seem like they want him back. Cleveland needs to rebuild its entire roster, so getting a third-round pick back for Chubb would be solid. Still, Chubb could have another 3 to 5 good years of football left, and knowing the Browns, they would waste the draft pick anyway, so keeping Chubb and trying to sign him long-term would be the best thing for the organization. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Nick Chubb? Leave your opinion in the comments.